It has been a hot minute since I used my reading prompt jar, so I think I'm gonna start a reading vlog doing that today because I really don't know what I'm in the mood for. I just came off of a really good book. I've actually just spent the entire day reading it, so I think I'm gonna pick the first book I'm gonna read right now and then probably end up starting it tomorrow because I'm kind of all read out at the moment. I don't know how many books I'm gonna do for this vlog, probably 3, maybe 4 if one of them ends up being a graphic novel or something like that. And I am going to pick one prompt, find a book based on that prompt, read that book, and then pick another prompt, not pick all of them at once, just because I find that can be a little bit stressful. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to pick the first prompt. I actually dropped one, so I'm going to go with this one. Okay, I do not remember even writing this one. Oh my gosh. It's a book with stars on the cover. Off of the top of my head, I cannot even think of a book that I own that has stars on the cover, so this is going to take me a minute. I will be back with whatever book fits that criteria. Okay, I'm back. Surprisingly, it did not take that long to find books with stars on the cover. I thought I was gonna have to go downstairs to a bookshelf that I have down there and kind of peruse through those books, but thankfully I did not have to. I actually have 2 that were on the shelf conveniently right next to me. Honestly, there could be more next to me too. I have no idea, there's a lot of books up here. But anyway, the first one I have would definitely be a reread for me. I think I've read this one at least 3 times, and that's Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Jungmi Sun. This one is definitely one that I love, and I love coming back to. It is 5 stars, but I'm not sure that I'm really in the mood for this at the moment. I kind of want something with plot and depth potentially. Not that that one doesn't have depth or plot, but it's a lot more cutesy and I'm kind of in the mood for substance right now. So the other book was actually just right up here, and that is Artemis by Andy Weir. I've been meaning to read this book for a while now and I just haven't got to it yet. I loved The Martian by Andy Weir, so I'm hoping this one is just as good. And I don't know if you can see it, but there are in fact stars on the cover, like just around the moon. I'm thinking that's the moon. It is in fact the moon. Anyway, I think this is the book I am going to go with. I also think I'm going to start it tomorrow just because I am kind of tired of reading right now and I want to do anything but read right now. But fingers crossed this book is going to be as good as I hope it's going to be. I just finished Artemis, and honestly, 5 stars. I am not normally the biggest fan of sci-fi. It's definitely not a genre that I gravitate towards too very often. So I am very glad that I finally got to it, and it is definitely one that I would read again. Andy Weir has like a way of explaining science in simple terms, so it makes sense to people like me who aren't really that sciencey. I don't understand a lot of chemistry and physics and engineering talk, but he describes things in a way that makes sense to me. So if you're not into sci-fi, but you kind of want to give it a go, this and The Martian would both definitely be good places to start. I also just have to say the characters were written very, very well. I loved every single character in this book, and also the character development and growth throughout it. It was like beautifully written in that sense. This is not a spoiler in any way either, but the main character is also morally gray, which I was not expecting because I did not read the synopsis. It is in the synopsis, however, so that's how I know I'm not really spoiling anything by that. But I really love that aspect of it. Morally gray characters are always really fun, and it's always also very fun to kind of see their growth. 5 stars. Very glad that the reading prompt jar brought me to this read. Great first read for 2026 as well. Starting off the year with a 5-star read. I cannot ask for much more. But now I'm going to pick another prompt from the jar. Oh, this is interesting. The last one was a book with stars on the cover, and this one is a book with flowers on the cover. I definitely have quite a few of those, but I'm gonna be a minute because I think I'm gonna look through some of the ones I have up here in my office and kind of decide if any of them are speaking to me right now, and I will be right back with my choice. Okay, so as expected, I have a lot of books with flowers on the cover. It is quite common, but I'm actually gonna go with one that I didn't realize had flowers on the cover until I was looking through a stack and noticed it. And it's not a romance, which most of them with flowers on the cover were romances, and I don't know that that's the mood that I'm in right now. But anyway, this one is called The Vegetarian by Han Kang. I think I'm saying that name correctly. I apologize if I'm not. But just so you can see, there are flowers on either side of this silhouette of the person. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not know much about this book, only that it is supposed to be very unsettling, and I think on like the horror side, potentially literary horror, psychological horror, I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that it's supposed to be a very thought-provoking yet disturbing read, and I quite enjoy books like that, so I can't wait to get into it. But yeah, this is the one I'm going to go with. Not exactly what I had anticipated when I picked this prompt, but I'm glad that I'm going with a genre other than romance, because like I said, not really in the mood for that right now. I do think I am going to start this one tomorrow because I have been reading for a couple of hours now today, and I kind of just want to take a break from reading, but fingers crossed that this one is also going to be another 5-star read. I just finished The Vegetarian, and holy crap, this book was insane. I am kind of confused, but also I'm assuming that it's supposed to be ambiguous. I don't want to say too much here because I obviously don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but it's definitely one of those reads that's kind of open to interpretation and doesn't really have a solid meaning or takeaway from it. I don't know. I feel like I'm not describing that properly though. It does have a meaning. It's just not in your face. You kind of have to think about it and come to your own conclusions. But 5 stars. This was exactly what I thought it was going to be and yet completely different all at the same time. I definitely thought it was going to be horror based on vegetarianism. That's what the title would lead you to believe. And the first part was like that. So there were no chapters in this book. Instead, it was split into 3 parts. And the first part was kind of exactly what I thought the whole book was going to be like. There was animal cruelty and abuse in it, which was not so nice. It is what I kind of figured this book would entail. The second part is where it got completely off the path of what I thought it was going to be. It ended up being almost erotic, but not overly graphic. It just had a lot of nudity and descriptions about the human body, and that's all I'm going to say about that too, because I, once again, do not want to spoil this at all. And then the third part is where I started to kind of get confused, but kind of just had to go with the flow. You have to let go of needing to know every single thing right away and just let the book take you to where it's going to take you. But then it started coming back to what I had anticipated this book to be, which was kind of a psychedelic time. Like I said though, 5 stars. I definitely think some people would really love this book and other people not so much. If you like things like Bunny by Mona Awad. I'm trying to think of other books that get kind of weird and you don't really know what's going on sometimes, but like it all makes sense in the end. Oh, Mother of God. That's another really good example. If you like stuff like that, this would be perfect for you. I think you would love this one as well. If abstract things are not really your favorite, I probably recommend skipping it because I can definitely see people not enjoying it if they don't like stuff towards that and gravitate towards reads like that. I really loved it though, and I think that Han Kang has written quite a few novels, so I'm definitely going to be looking into some of their other works. For right now, however, I am going to pick one more prompt from the jar, and I'm hoping I get a good one because 2 5-star reads, let's go for a third, honestly. Ooh, this is a very interesting one. It's choose a book inspired by the last song you listened to. Inspired by? Like directly, or I'm inspired? I guess I wrote this prompt so I can interpret it however I want to. Okay, this is gonna take me a few minutes because I'm not even sure about the last song that I listened to, but I'm gonna go and look that up on Spotify, and then I will be back hopefully with the next book that I'm gonna read. All right, so I am back, and surprise, surprise, the last song that I listened to was by Hosier, and it is called Francesca. So I definitely wanted to look for a book that has got maybe some love and yearning in it, but also potentially dark gothic kind of themes, maybe. I don't really know. It's hard to know the vibe of a book if you haven't read it, and I tend to stray away from reading the synopsis on books just because I have been spoiled by doing that before. But this seemed like a perfect time to read Alone with You in the Ether by Olive Blake. This is a love story, and it also has bees on the cover. And if you know anything about Hosier, and if there's one thing I know about Hosier, it's that the man loves bees. He is a beekeeper and always has bee facts. So this one definitely feels like it has the same vibe as that song. I am actually going to start reading this right now. I can't wait to get into it. I just finished Alone with You in the Ether, and this book was a freaking masterpiece. I cannot believe that I waited this long to read it. It was everything I have ever hoped for in a romance. There was actually building of a relationship. It wasn't an insta romance or anything like that. There was a solid foundation between the couple in this, and it was a slow burn, and you also got to know the characters as they got to know each other, which was amazing. I will say some people would probably be put off by the writing style. I kind of knew going into it that it was going to be a little bit different than anything I've ever read before, and that made me a little bit nervous, but thankfully it was not as complicated as I think I had anticipated. It was still strange though, so it is written in both third person and first person in a way, and it is a dual perspective, but also at times has a narrator and little spots where it tells you kind of the setting or sets the scene. And I feel like with each part the writing style slightly changes. There are also some pieces of dialogue that do not have quotations around them and other pieces of dialogue that do. So it can get a little bit confusing, and it is definitely a book where you have to be paying attention and actually thinking while reading it. But that is so refreshing for a romance. I don't think I've ever actually read a romance that has made me think this much. And with all of that being said, this is absolutely 5 stars. I loved it so freaking much, and I am super pumped to be reading more by Olivia Blake eventually in the future. I do own a few more of her books, and I need to read them ASAP because I loved this so much. It is worth all of the hype and more, in my opinion. So with that, I think I'm going to conclude this video here. I had a wonderful time with the reading prompt jar. 3 5-star reads, and I'm off to the greatest start in 2026. It cannot get any better than this. I read 3 completely different novels, but all 5 stars in their own respect, and I'm so pleased with this. This is why I love doing the reading prompt jar, and I will definitely be doing it again quickly in the future. If you can't tell, Awen really wants pets right now. Oh my goodness. But with that, I am gonna leave this one here. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and happy reading.